I think that kind of transitions to another question based on that. The Kings did not bolster their roster, which is fair to say. I mean, like, you can classify it that the Kings, among the playoff contenders, bolstered their roster the least. I think that's kind of fair to say. Where do you think the Kings end up? Do you think they stay in the top six? Do you think they become a play-in team? You don't have to like totally buy into one answer, but like, give me your honest gut feeling. Like, what do you think? Where do you think this team ends up?
Man, I hope the sixth seed. I don't want to touch that playing tournament. I don't. I just, anything can happen, right? So, especially with an inexperienced team like the Kings, you rather just head straight to the first round. So I'm going to say sixth, and I think they can do it. They are the third seed right now. There are a couple teams where it's like, okay, like the Suns and the Mavs, like they could easily pass them. That only puts them down to the fifth seed. I think Kevin Fippen of not Sacktown Royalty. It used to be Sacktown Royalty, but now it's the King's Herald, or at least those guys left to there. I think he had a good post about this. It was 3 days ago. It was an interesting post, I thought, and it says if the Kings go 500, 14-14, they'll finish 45-37, kind of around where we thought the Kings would finish, which usually seems like around like a sixth, maybe a seventh seed in the NBA conference. And so this is what he said as well. Here's what other teams would need to do to pass them. So at 14-14, Kings go split the last 28 games. I don't think this counted the 2 Mavericks games. So technically they're still on that pace to go 500 as outlined in this post. And so the Lakers would have to go 21-5, which seems unrealistic. Golden State 18-9. Like maybe, but that seems a little high the way Golden State's been playing and Curry's out. Clippers 15-9. Okay, I can maybe see the Clippers. I mean, I can see them going 15-9. Suns 16-9. Sure, I think the Suns can go 16-9. Dallas 16-10. Like, okay, sure, Dallas. Like maybe these are like still 16 wins in the last 26 games. Still a lot of wins, right? New Orleans 17-9. Okay, they're still without Zion. Minnesota 16-8. Like, I don't know. They just got rid of D'Angelo Russell. We don't know. Portland 19-8. It's kind of high in wins. OKC 21-8. Still very high, even though OKC is playing well. And the Jazz 19-7. I just don't really see the Jazz doing that. So I mean, out of those guys, I could see maybe the Clippers, Suns, and Dallas just for their records going 15-9, 16-9, 16-10, and what they did at the trade deadline. So if anything, that only drops the Kings down to the 6th seed because 3 teams would pass them. So I'm going to stay with the 6th seed. Maybe they can stay with the 5th or the 4th. I don't know if they're going to stay at the 3rd seed, but I really think they can stay out of the play-in. And man, I know we're not really on this topic or anything, but the Kings, they've been kind of playing decently lately. Yeah, they beat Houston. They've won 3 out of their last 4, but they definitely look tired. The All-Star break is going to do them wonders. I think they're going to come back rejuvenated, getting their rest, and they're going to come out, I think, playing some of the best basketball that we will see this season. So maybe you're like the Kings kind of look like they're on the decline right now. Teams are tired right now. This team is especially tired, especially with a team with such a high pace. I think they're going to come out, kicking ass. And I think, 45 wins, maybe they'll do even better. Maybe they can even push 50, but they do have a tough way to end the season. A lot of teams in the Western Conference. So again, that conference only got tougher as well. But what about you, John? What are you thinking for the final record this season, or the final seeding for the Kings?
Yeah, first of all, that was a great answer. Second, going on to me, I look at it this way: the top 4 seeds are going to be in any order. It's going to be Denver, Dallas, Phoenix, and Memphis. That's the way I see that. I just see the Kings landing in the 5 spot. I don't know about New Orleans. I don't really believe in the Clippers because who's their point guard? Bones Highland. So
yeah,
I just don't know about that. I think the Warriors are it'll put a lot of Warriors fans on therapy couches to be a play-in team, but I just think that's where they're going to end up. They're not at all playing the way they did last year. Now, I think they'll finish above 500, like, sure, and they'll probably close out the season strong, but I don't know. I just don't 100% believe in them, especially when you look at them relative to previous years where they really had that punch. And then you're talking about like Minnesota, which is really kind of a big question mark. And it's just like, anything below that, forget about it. Like the Trailblazers and the Lakers, they're so desperate. You could see it at the deadline. Good luck to them. I don't know. I just it like, will the Kings slip a little bit? I think everybody can recognize that they can slip a little bit. Like the Suns and the Mavericks, like that's legit. All this other stuff, take into account chemistry. I mean, like some of these changes, like for like the Lakers, like that's such a big change. We saw what happened when the Kings they changed half the roster last year. They were playing way better basketball, but it was hard to win. It was hard to be able to actually secure victories, to come down and bear down in the end. There's something to say about that, about a unit that's done that together and it has done it all season. I just think, I don't know. I'm like so set on the Kings just finishing fifth. I just think I'm like so close to wanting to put money on it. I just think that that's the way it is. You just kind of like see the separation and where the Kings kind of land in the middle. Like I said, go through those top four teams. I would be surprised if it's not any combination of, like I said, Denver, Dallas, Phoenix, Memphis. And I just don't see the Clippers, Pelicans, or Warriors or Timberwolves, coming up and beating the Kings. I guess that is all dependent, though, on how healthy the Kings stay. As much as I know the Kings respond to challenges, again, another topic we'll get to in a second, like Monk goes down for a game. The bench has a way of just coming together. They have depth to do stuff like that. But injuries to maybe more prominent guys, not to say Monk's not prominent, he's massively prominent, but you miss Fox or Sabonis for a couple weeks for any reason. Not to say that we have any reason to believe that that's going to happen. They've shown extremely nice durability, but barring something like that, the Kings, like that whole idea of them finishing 500, like, yeah, they can do that. That's a good way to put it. They'll slip a little bit, but they're still going to be a playoff team. I don't know if they'll slip into the plan. It can happen though. Don't rule it out.
I would love this Kings team to kind of, and of course this would be a perfect base for any team to start off their dynasty one day, but it would be kind of like the Warriors dynasty. I mean, it started off with what year was that? 2012, 2013 when they beat Denver in the first round.
Seed Nuggets, that's right.
Against the Nuggets. And then kind of like, okay, like they beat the Nuggets, a higher seeded team than them. And what was against OKC in the second round? I think better.
They played San
Antonio, yeah.
And they played hard against San Antonio. Hard.
And then they put themselves on the map. And it's not like the Kings aren't putting themselves on the map. They have 2 All-Stars and a 3-time All-Star. But, getting a win, I think, in the playoffs, in the first round victory would be huge. And it's obviously easier to do that as a higher seed than it is as a lower seed. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the Kings aren't title contenders this year, but it would be nice to get a little more than just a experience in like a playoff loss in the first round. So
yeah, that's a good point.